Hi everyone, Nigel here from Uprise. Please go ahead and say hello in the chat so that we know that you can hear me and that you're ready to start. Hi. Okay, just watching the numbers come in. Okay, so controller acceptance. This is a great topic. We've presented this webinar a few times because it's extremely popular, and it's really interesting because it's a topic that sits right at the core of what we do in counseling, psychology, and therapy. And when it comes to emotions, which is what we're going to be talking about, it really sort of presents an interesting paradox or irony around how we tend to relate to ourselves. So hold on tight. I'd like to acknowledge the Gumbaynggirr peoples, plural, upon whose country I am currently sitting as the traditional custodians of the lands upon which we meet today. And I would like to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. I have a genuine sense of gratitude uh, for for the custodianship that the Aboriginal people have held over these lands over many, many thousands of years, and for what we might be able to learn from them. And I also feel a deep sadness for what the colonists did to the Aboriginal people when we came to this country. Uh, so if there are any Aboriginal to Australian people here today, then I extend a warm welcome to you. So I'm a psychological coach at Uprise. I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a counsellor, and I'm a teacher and trainer and supervisor of psychotherapists, counsellors, and psychologists. I do a lot of work with Uprise. I do a lot of work in a range of areas. And so I'm talking to my day is basically made up of talking to different people, individuals, couples, sometimes families, sometimes groups, about their experience always around their psychological experience, their mental well-being, their spiritual well-being, and their relationships. Use the chat as much as you want to. Anything that you want to ask about any of these topics, any comments you want to make, please just drop it in the chat. And I find it quite easy to follow the chat, and really thank you to everyone who said hello. I really appreciate you saying hello. I won't refer to you by name because we are being recorded. Okay, so it's interesting. I created this slide, and then someone else put an image in there. Now I'm looking at it, going, "Oh, okay, the image answers the questions." But the idea is to just jump in the chat and just name some positive emotions. It's just a way of framing our conversation and getting you thinking about the topic. It's one thing to be talked at. It's something else completely to just engage yourself, even in a small way, in the conversation. And we know learning theory and learning research has shown us that you will learn so much more just by engaging even slightly. So we've got optimism, excitement, joy, inner peace, comfort, appreciation. These are some positive emotions. Wonder. What have we got on the screen? Gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, love. And I find it really interesting that we call them positive emotions, and sometimes we need to stop and be curious about where this language of positive comes from. Positive actually means to act upon. It actually means to put forward, to actually do something. So it's interesting that we've turned this reference, and then we've got electricity, and we have a positive charge and a negative charge, and we know that the positive, that tends to move from negative to positive, and that we tend to, if you have magnets, that a positive side will attract the negative side, etc. Embodiment, someone has said, is a positive emotion. Thank you. And so the next slide sort of asks you to think about, okay, well, how do you feel about positive emotions? And this is, where it starts to get a little bit interesting. So how do you feel about positive emotions? Your comfort, joy, inner peace, appreciation, excitement, optimism, embodiment, wonder. How do you feel about it? It's pretty rhetorical, but I just want to see what people say. I need more. I feel safe. What else? How do you feel about positive emotions? Whole. Yeah. Oh, scary, someone said. I like scary. Comforting, happy, uplifted, the most positive, not enough of them, mood changing. Yeah. We tend to want positive emotions. And there's the one I'm looking for. Positive emotions are good. We'd love to have them all the time. Addict, I'm addicted to positive emotions. That's a great response. Really talks to what we're going to be talking about today, because we tend to judge our emotions. We feel good about them. So let's name some negative emotions now. Come up with some negative emotions. There's no prompts on the screen this time. So what are some negative emotions? Fear, frustration, fear, anger, guilt, envy, self-loathing, stress. Yeah. Any others? Not good enoughness, which is in terms of an emotion we call shame, anxiety, negative. I just call negative emotions negative. Negative self-talk, not enough, lockdown, more. So again, just really interest this language about this binary separation, this what the early psychoanalysts called a splitting of the world between positive and negative, between what's good and what's bad. And we want more of what's good, we want less of what's bad. We want to get close and bring towards us the good and the positive. We want to push away and get rid of and distance ourselves from anything that's negative. So I've answered that question. How do you feel about negative emotions? You can. Someone's popped worthless. Someone's put more. Someone said lockdown. When you think about negative emotions, what's your response? How do you feel about negative emotions? I prefer the term difficult. Yes, good. Down. Yeah, they bring me down. I feel sad about negative emotions. I don't want to attach to them. I think they're not helpful. They're heavy. Would like to be able to get rid of them. That's what I hear all the time. I want to get rid of my negative emotions. I want them gone. I want to just want them. Any way I can get rid of them, I will. I'm going to talk more about all the different ways we try and get rid of our negative emotions. Want to make peace with them. They make me irritable. They make me frustrated. I can't escape them. Sometimes I try and sit with it. It depletes my energy. Can't always be positive, can you? I actually value them because I feel like it's where I get most of my growth from. Takes a lot of mental capacity to not think about them. Can be positive if they lead to change. Oh, so negative emotions can be positive emotions. When might a negative emotion be a positive emotion? When might a positive emotion be a negative emotion? Oh my gosh, doesn't it start to get confusing when we start to unpack it? So control, is that the right slide? Oh my gosh, I did check these. So what we tend to try to do is we tend to control. Yeah, we tend to control our emotional state so that we have more positive and less negative. So we tend to sort of be reaching out for going, okay, how do I bring positive emotion into my life, and how do I push anything that I perceive to be negative out of my life? Now, this comes because we've made this decision, either at an individual level or at a community level, at a social level, maybe even at a human level. We've made this decision that some emotions are good and some emotions are bad. Some emotions should be kept and other emotions should be got rid of, which puts us in a situation of needing to or wanting to control our emotional state, but not only wanting to control our own emotional states, but to control the emotions of other people. Someone's just added, yes, it's so easy to absorb so many negative emotions from other people on top of our own. And I have many sessions with people about that as well. Unfortunately, what happens is when it comes to our thoughts and emotions, if we put some of our emotions into the negative category and we decide that they are bad, and if we have those negative emotions, then we are a negative person or we are a bad person, then what we tend to do is we tend to kind of try and put them in a box, put a lid on top, and pretend they don't exist, particularly in social situations. And there's no more kind of definitively social environment than the workplace. Now, we don't tend to think of it as a social environment. We tend to think of going out with our friends to a cafe or a restaurant or for dinner or to a nightclub. That's social. But actually, the workplace is kind of the penultimate social environment because it's so heavily structured by societal norms and rules. And it's the place where more than any other place we go, you know what? I need to show up with positive emotions, and I need to not show up with negative emotions. So I need to deny them. Cannot tell you how many conversations I have every day where people are saying to me, I can't feel this, I can't feel that. I'm not allowed to say this, I'm not allowed to say that. Because if I do, then I will be seen badly. I won't be a good employee. I won't be a good colleague. I won't be a good manager. I will be judged badly because of the thoughts and the feelings that I am having in any given moment. What we're doing to ourselves when we're trying to control our emotions in this way, when we split the world between good and bad, we end up having to avoid the bad. We end up having to suppress the bad. We end up having to sort of impose upon ourselves a requirement that we be positive. I've got a whole other webinar that we present here at our prize called Toxic Positivity. When that goes too far, we deny ourselves and our emotions, and we end up in opposition with ourselves. What this does, and this is the irony, what this does is this thing that I've been sort of playing with my hands, this is going on inside you. You are trying to divvy up your emotional world in terms of what's positive and what's negative, what's good and what's bad. And what happens is that you have emotions, and if you decide, or someone else has told you that you need to decide that those emotions are bad, and that you are bad if you have those emotions, it's a very easy, cognitive jump to take. If I have emotions and those emotions are bad, then I'm a bad person. Then I must suppress, I must avoid, I must deny, I must do something to control. Then we end up inside us in this tension that actually leads to more stress. So this requirement that we have of ourselves, that we be positive and that we not be negative, actually leads to a whole lot more stress than we realize. We're either doing this or we're doing this to ourselves. And sometimes, people say, I'm having a panic attack. And I say, look, this is my definition of a panic attack. Here's a feeling that you have, and here's your socialized self saying, bad feeling, go away, bad feeling, go away. And the feeling goes, I don't want to go away. I'm here, I'm important, I don't want to go away. Stop it, go away, bad feeling, go away. Panic attack. Some of you are going, oh my God, I feel like I'm having a panic attack. All right. So that persistent tension leads to an experience of stress and anxiety. Really? My efforts to be positive, my determination to be positive, my antagonism towards my negative aspects of myself leads to stress and anxiety? Whoa, really? This will remind me of myself. There's whole theories around this. A really interesting theory I like is from Gestalt therapy. Gestalt means whole, and it believes that as human beings we have an innate drive to experience wholeness, and there's all sorts of examples that they use in terms of the way that we see, the way that we hear, and the way that our brain and our selfhood just likes to finish things off, likes to make things whole, likes to see complete pictures. And you can sort of imagine if you see a circle and it's got a gap in it, it's one of the classic images. You see a circle, it's got a gap in it, and you ask someone, what's that? And they say it's a circle, because we just want to close the gap. So we're doing this all the time. So we're always looking for wholeness. And Gestalt theory says that one of the things that gets in the way of wholeness is that we reject parts of ourselves, which is exactly what we've been talking about today. We decide that a part of ourselves is negative, a part of ourselves is bad, a part of ourselves shouldn't be, a part of ourselves is unacceptable, a part of ourselves is insufficient, a part of ourselves doesn't belong. Or if other people see this other part of me, then I won't belong, which is human beings, any mammal's greatest fear, not belonging, being excluded from the group. And so Gestalt talks about disowning parts of the self. If we go back even further to Carl Jung talked about the shadow self. And it was the same basic idea that we create a shadow when we tell ourselves that I should be this and I shouldn't be that. And if there's part of me that is that, because one way of thinking about it is that there's a little bit of everything in all of us. If you think about the yin and the yang symbol, you've got the black and the white, and there's a little bit of black in the white and there's a little bit of white in the black. That's to symbolize that there's a little bit of yang in the yin and there's a little bit of yin in the yang. And similarly, we have a little bit of everything inside of us. We all have anger and rage and fear and envy and shame and guilt and addictions of some kind. We crave. We like to make ourselves feel good. We like to binge on whatever it is that we like to binge on, whether it be screens or social media or drugs or alcohol or food or sugar or coffee or whatever it is. But we decide that that part of ourselves shouldn't be seen by the outside world. If it was seen by the outside world, would be rejected, and so we deny it, and it becomes disowned, hidden. It goes into the shadow, but it doesn't go away. And this is where some people come to me. I just want to get rid of it, and I push it away, and I practice being positive, and I do everything I can to kill off this part of myself, but it doesn't die. It doesn't die. It keeps on coming back. And I don't like it. In fact, I hate it. I hear this a lot. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But that thing that's being hated, well, it's you. It's me. I'm hating on me. And I feel it. I feel this feeling of being hated upon. And more than tension and stress and anxiety, it starts to go deeper into depression and anxiety disorders, and general intolerance of being me. There's a couple of bits in here about control, because people always say, well, hang on a second, you've got to control some things. But what do we need to control? You can write your answer in the chat if you like. I'm going to move on anyway, but I'm interested in hearing. What do you think needs to be controlled in your life? Because what people normally try and control are the things that I'm going to suggest we should never try and control. What do you think? Yeah, I need to control my emotions. Thank you for the person who came straight out. I need to control my emotions. I need to control the way I treat other people. I need to control my responses. I'm in control of my morals and values, says someone. Any other thoughts about what it is that we need to control? Boundaries. I'm in control of my own boundaries. I want to care for and not harm others. That language, by the way, I want is my kind of formula for getting yourself, for liberation. I want. If you ever hear yourself saying, I should, I need to, I have to, then you're in trouble. If you can reframe what you're saying as I want to, then you're going to tap into your own values, your own beliefs, and you're going to become more aligned. Okay. I need to control my stress as it affects other team members. And here you are. Congratulations, you've showed up. I should control only what I can change. I should control my fear about not being in control. Is it better to understand than to control? Yeah, let's work towards that. So other people are impacted by me, so I need to control my stress. But the paradox is what we're talking about today. What does that actually look like? What does controlling my stress actually look like? Because what I'm telling you is trying to control your stress is going to have the other opposite effect. It's just going to cause you more stress. So this is what I would suggest. Boundaries fits into this. My personal boundaries, my personal responses. I can control those things. Do I need to? I don't know. If it affects other people, if it affects my goals, then yes. And that's when you work with a psychologist, they're always thinking about, well, what are your goals? What are your goals? What are your goals? Because it only matters. It's only positive or negative if it, insofar as it affects your goals. And I'll unpack that a little bit. If I have a goal, which is over here, I feel like I'm on the wrong side of the screen. I'm being flipped. So just bear with me. So here's my goal over here. Now, anything that moves me towards my goal, by definition, positive. Anything that moves me away from my goal, by definition, negative. So Anything that's positive is anything that moves me towards my goal. Sometimes, in order to rebuild my relationship with my partner, which is my goal, I need to feel shame. Sometimes, to mend a relationship that I've damaged, I need to feel guilt. And so it's positive. And if I deny my guilt, then it's going to move me away from my goal. Boundaries and responding to other people is all about goals. What do I want? What am I trying to achieve? If it moves me towards that, well, then for me, it's positive. It moves me away from that. For me, then it's negative, which is why us positivity and negativity are subjective. It's solely to do with you as the individual or any other individual and what it is that you or they are wanting to achieve, which is why we should be really careful about universalizing this language of positive or negative. So, what sorts of things do we need to control? Well, in the workplace, we tend to need to control health and safety, and we can control for it. Often we need to control budgets, and we can control for it. We as individuals need to be in control of our daily and weekly set schedules. Where we need to be. I need to be here 10 minutes early, ready to go, so I could present this webinar. If I didn't turn up, then there would be detrimental consequences for me, and all of you would be disappointed, as would Uprise. We need to meet our work and other commitments. If there's things that I promise, then really I should follow through and control my time so that I have that done. Down the bottom, you'll see the two things that I would suggest are the two things that you should never try and control. One is your own emotions and feelings. The other thing is other people. Now, in therapy, I can't tell you how often, particularly couples therapy and family, and family therapy, can't tell you how often I'm dealing with people who are coming in because the thing that they're trying to control is the other person. And they're not only trying to control the other person, they're trying to control the other person's feelings, even if it's in a positive way. Because every husband, wives out there, every husband, every girlfriend, every boyfriend, every husband, every boyfriend wants you to be happy. And so many of the things, other than when he's self-serving and being selfish, which is happening a lot, everything else that he's doing, he's thinking he's doing because it's going to make you happy. But he doesn't have that control. And so he's very often disappointed because she's not happy. She's sad, she's angry, she's mad, she's pissed at him. She's having a period. She's pissed at the world. She's pissed at everything. And he's failed. Oh my gosh, I couldn't make my partner happy. I failed. It's out of your control. It's out of your control. Not your responsibility to make another person happy. Similarly, you can't control your feelings. So, what do we do with those pesky feelings? Someone has suggested it's better to understand than control. I love the idea of understanding. Spend a lot of my time in therapy helping people to understand, and me working to understand their emotions. So what do we do with them? The answer from the research, from the theory, from all of psychology, all of therapy, all of Buddhism, all of Taoism, so many other faiths and spiritualities in the world that teach about the psychology of emotion, they say acceptance is the answer. What does this mean? Well, when I'm angry, I accept that I'm angry. When I'm sad, I accept that I'm sad. When I feel ashamed, I accept that I feel ashamed. When I feel guilt, I accept that I feel guilt. What changes isn't the emotion itself. It doesn't go anywhere. I still feel sad. I still feel mad. I still feel ashamed. I still feel guilty. I still feel envy. What stopped is the tussle. I've stopped fighting myself. I've stopped telling myself that I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm insufficient, I'm negative, that I'm stopped telling myself that I shouldn't feel what I'm feeling. I simply accept this is what I'm feeling. Now I can do it with joy and hope and elation, happiness. Or can I do it with sadness and pain, frustration? Similarly accept that that's what I'm feeling in that moment. With acceptance comes the possibility of understanding. And what's interesting is that while ever I am suppressing and controlling, There's no space, there's no room for understanding. Yeah, a really helpful and popular metaphor for emotions is that our emotions are like a compass. Yeah, that our emotions are telling us. Here's my compass. I'll do it this way. Our emotions are telling us. Looks more like a dial. Our emotions are telling us what's really going on for us. Yeah, how we really feel about a situation and what that situation is meaning to us. Now, we can do things to change that, but it's not by trying to control the emotion. We do things to change it by understanding the emotion, understanding where it's coming from, understanding why we have this feeling, why it's so persistent if it's persistent, and listening to it. It's another good sort of metaphor for emotion is that it's motion. So E as in oh gosh, sorry, EMC squared. I've just got the names popped out of my head. So someone will tell me who's at EMC squared. E for energy and motion. So emotion is the energy that our body harnesses to give us Albert Einstein. Thank you. I thought it was Albert Einstein, EMC squared, energy for motion. That's what emotion is. Emotion is the motivator. It's the energy that we need. It's sort of, it triggers the chemical reactions that create the energy that our muscles, that our brain, that our heart, our lungs, our loins need to move us in the direction that our body thinks that we want to go. Now, there's been, first of all, there's there's a long history of the body being wiser than the brain. And science is now moving back in this direction, having moved away from this direction, because originally science was founded on the idea that we can't trust a person, we can only trust our thoughts. But actually, science is starting to swing back the other way and realizing actually the body keeps the score. Yeah, emotion is kept in the body, and wisdom is kept in the body. So we have in Uprise a module, and that's what this slide is about. It's the Uprise module that will help you to think through your own challenges with control and acceptance. You can also access Uprise counselors like myself and coaches that can support you to think through your own challenges around emotions and the place that you feel your emotions should or shouldn't be, including including stress, and where accepting your stress and then understanding where your stress is coming from, and therefore understanding what you might do about it. So to finish off, I've got a couple of lovely ocean slides. I love the ocean. I live quite close to the ocean myself. And this is the first one. And the framing here is that if you are engaged in a battle to control your emotions, then actually what's going on is that your emotions are in control of you. I often use the metaphor of the emotion. I often use the metaphor of a wave, because emotions aren't like waves. They come like waves. Now, if you've ever been at the beach, and most of you have, and you've tried to stop a wave from crashing on the shore, how'd you go with that? It didn't go well. It never goes well when we try and stop waves from crashing on the shore. However, when we accept our emotions as they are, when we allow them to be, when we listen to them, when we work with them, then we can be back in control. We can't stop them, but we can work with them. We can utilize the power of the energy that is created by the emotion to move us in the direction that we need to go or want to go. It takes time, it takes reflection, it takes a willingness to accept and work with what your experience is. But it works. All right. Thank you all for your time and attention today. Really appreciate you being here. Hope you got something out of it today. Please click the link further up and share some feedback. Be very helpful. Thank you. Have a good day.